Unit 9, page 153. Exercise 7. Listening.
Good afternoon. Here is a bulletin from the Mason County Sheriff's Office. Charles Gallagher and 2 other inmates are reported to have escaped from the maximum security prison in Grandview. Listeners may recall that 2 years ago, Gallagher was sentenced to serve 10 years with the opportunity to earn a reduced sentence in return for good behavior. The 3 prisoners are thought to have escaped in a prison laundry truck. Authorities are not saying how the breakout could have taken place, but according to usually reliable sources, the 3 men are believed to have been helped in their escape by a prison employee. Our sources inform us that a new state-of-the-art security system could have prevented their escape. The system was supposed to have been installed 2 months ago, but because of procrastination on the part of prison officials, it is not yet in place. Listeners should be aware that the 3 prisoners are thought to have weapons and are believed to be heading in the direction of Union City. Listeners are warned not to approach the prisoners. They are asked to contact the sheriff's office by calling this toll-free number, 1-800-555-9999, if they have any information.
Unit 10, page 160. Read. Concerned about health? Ask the expert.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Ask the Expert. I'm Miranda Olson. My guest today is Dr. Mel Brand, an authority on everyday health issues, and we're going to devote today's entire program to your questions about health. So let's get right to it with our first caller. Tell us your name and where you're from.
Hi, Dr. Brand. I'm Sally Matthews from San Diego, California. We hear a lot of negative stuff about fast food, but my husband and kids love hamburgers and fries and sodas. How bad is fast food?
Sally, it's okay in moderation, but I wouldn't make a habit of eating it. Most fast food is full of salt, sugar, cholesterol, and lots of calories. An occasional trip to a fast food place won't hurt you, especially if you can offset the junk food with healthy salads or sandwiches. But I wouldn't eat it more than once or twice a week.
Okay, next question?
Dr. Brand, I'm Bob Gonzalez from Tampa, Florida. I'm 25 years old, and my question is about sun. My lovely wife is a wonderful woman, but she's also a member of the sunblock police. She won't let me go out the door without putting sunblock on. I've always been able to get a good tan, so is this really necessary? It's a pain.
Bob, I've got to side with your wife. The sun makes us feel wonderful, and we love its warmth, but it has its dangers. I've treated patients with skin cancer. The most telling example was an older man who hiked for 40 years and refused to wear a hat. He developed skin cancer and didn't survive it. I'm not trying to scare you, but I do advocate sunblock if you're going out in the sun for more than a few minutes. And you should definitely wear a brimmed hat that protects your face and your neck. And that's all of us, not just fair-skinned people.
Okay, let's go to the next question now.
Dr. Brand, I'm Martina Smith from Toronto, Canada. My question is about weight. My husband has gotten enormous. He's 5 feet 11 inches tall and weighs about 250 pounds. He used to be in good shape when he was a tennis champion, but now he doesn't get any exercise. When I try to get him to go to the gym, he either says he's too tired or he doesn't have time. Any suggestions?
Martina, it's evident that your husband is way too heavy. Have you heard of body mass index? Anyone with a BMI of more than 25 is considered overweight. Hence, your husband would have a BMI of about 35, which puts him in the obese category. He's got to start exercising and taking off the pounds. Have him start slowly and build up to at least 3 times a week, and not deviate from that plan. Get him to play a game of tennis with you, but don't delay.
All right. Do we have another question?
Hi, Dr. Brand. I don't know if this is a health question or not, but is there a cure for baldness? I've been losing my hair since I was 35.
Unit 10, page 172. Exercise 7. Listening.
Hello, Mr. Hansen. I'm Dr. Jindal. How can I help you today?
Well, I'm a little concerned about my weight, so I thought I'd come in for a checkup.
Well, I'm looking at your records here. I see that you're 5 feet 7 and your weight is 230 pounds. Your cholesterol level is 322, so I'd say you may be right to be concerned. Tell me about your daily routine. How many meals do you eat a day? Where do you eat them? How much do you exercise? That sort of thing.
Well, I just eat 2 meals a day, lunch and dinner. I don't really get any exercise since I work 12-hour days and basically don't have time.
What about lunch? Do you take a lunch with you? Eat out?
I eat out at various fast food places near where I work.
And you don't eat breakfast?
No, it seems like there's never time. Plus, I never feel like eating anything until about 11 a.m. Then I have a snack at work, usually donuts or some other pastry.
Well, I'd say you're at high risk for a heart attack. Your cholesterol is what I'd call dangerously high. Your BMI would be about 35. Anything over 25 is considered overweight.
So, are you going to put me on a diet?
No. For the most part, diets don't work. I'm going to suggest a radical change in your eating habits. That includes eating breakfast, whether you feel like eating it or not. You can still eat a lot of the foods you like, but in much smaller portions. And I want you to start an exercise program. You can begin slowly, say 3 times a week, with non-strenuous exercise at first. Are you willing? It won't be easy, but you can do it if you work at it.
Well, okay. There's nothing to lose, I guess.
And a lot to gain.
Unit 11, page 178. Read.
Going, gone? What do the auroch, the passenger pigeon, and the western black rhinoceros have in common? The answer: they've all gone extinct. These vanished animals typify the problem of the disappearance of species. Several grim statistics indicate the seriousness of the issue. Today, more than 18,000 species are thought to be in danger of extinction. This means that over 40% of the world's animals are considered at risk. It is also estimated that about 1/2 of the world's animal species have disappeared since 1970. Many feel that something must be done to stop this, and soon. But what? Some animals have been extinct for a considerable time. Aurochs, large wild oxen that lived in Europe and Asia, had died out by the early 1600s. The passenger pigeon was once the most common bird in North America. Historically, it populated the eastern U.S. and Canada, but by the end of the 19th century, it had almost disappeared because of habitat destruction and excessive hunting. The last known passenger pigeon, a female named Martha, died at the Cincinnati Zoo on September 1, 1914. More recently, we have lost the western black rhinoceros, which lived in the southeastern part of the African continent. It declined greatly over the 20th century and was last seen in 2008. It was officially declared extinct on November 6, 2013. Which animals are presently in danger of extinction? There are 3 significant categories: critically endangered, endangered, and vulnerable. Those considered critically endangered include the mountain gorilla of Central Africa and the California condor. Those termed endangered include the Asian elephant and the blue whale. Those considered vulnerable include the African lion and the polar bear of northern North America. The picture looks bleak overall. Nevertheless, the situation is not hopeless. There have been a few successes in bringing animals back from the edge of extinction. The whooping cranes of Canada and the United States are one example. In 1941, there were only 21 cranes in captivity and 2 in the wild. By 2015, there were estimated to be 603 birds in the wild. Their story can be considered a limited recovery, though there is still a potential problem of species diversity. The humpback whale is another species that has made something of a comeback, particularly since the ban on commercial whaling was instituted. Human activity is by far the most significant cause of animal extinction. The most crucial problem is loss of habitat caused by the increase of human population and its associated development. This includes expanded farming, excessive hunting, poaching, and man-made pollution. To that, we can add climate change and the effects of invasive species that overwhelm the native animals of an area. What can we do? Several strategies have been suggested. 1. Reduce our use of meat and dairy products. 2. Focus on renewable energy. 3. Change our shopping habits. 4. Support laws that restrict development. And 5. Support efforts to protect the rainforests, wetlands, coral reefs, and grasslands. There is need for alarm. If we're concerned about the loss of species, we need to make our voices heard. Once an animal is gone, it is gone forever.
Unit 11, page 188. Exercise 6. Listening.
Anything interesting in the paper?
Not a whole lot. There's a story about reintroducing wolves into national parks.
Oh yeah? What does it say?
Oh, the usual nonsense. It's on the side of the environmentalists.
Why do you think it's nonsense?
Because it's too pro-environment. It doesn't really look at the viewpoint of ranchers and hunters.
Well, you're a hunter, so I'm not surprised. But do you support the ranchers too?
Yes, I do, basically.
Why? Do you think it's a bad thing to put wolves back into the wilderness?
Well, yes, in a lot of ways I do. Wolves are dangerous creatures. They kill farm animals. They've even been known to kill people.
Bill, where are you getting your information? That's an old stereotype.
Those old stories must mean something.
Well, I support the plan to put wolves back into national parks.
Why?
I've done some reading about it. They put a few wolves into Yellowstone National Park back in 1995. They've multiplied quite a bit and have done a lot to restore the balance of nature. There were too many elk there, but the wolves have killed off some of the old and sick ones. Wolves are really intelligent and helpful.
I guess you've got a point. But I still think we have to consider the rancher's point of view.
Unit 12, page 194. Read.
The study habits of successful students. College students face many challenges, They have to take care of a large number of responsibilities in a limited amount of time. There are plenty of distractions that can divert students' attention from their studies. Most students struggle at one point or another to maintain focus on their schoolwork. But if you're a student, don't despair. All of the study tips listed below have been proven to help students to be successful in their studies.
Tip 1. Figure out how much time you need to devote to each subject. The general recommendation is to study 2 hours outside of class for every hour spent in class. If you're taking 15 credits, plan to allocate approximately 30 hours a week to school study. That may sound like a lot of hours, but that's just the general recommendation. Bear in mind that you shouldn't study constantly either. All the aspects of your life, work, recreation, socializing, study, exercise, need to be kept in balance. If you find yourself overloaded, take fewer classes the next time around.
Tip 2. Make yourself a study schedule. There are basically 2 types of schedules: time orientation and task orientation. In time orientation, you get out your weekly calendar and list the precise time and number of hours you will devote to each subject. So, for example, if you're taking a zoology class, you might write down something like this: Tuesdays, Thursdays, 2 to 4 p.m., study zoology. In task orientation, you delineate the number of tasks you have to accomplish each week, but don't specify times or exact numbers of hours. Instead, you might lay out the week's tasks like this: History, read chapters 1 and 2. English, write draft 1 of next week's essay. By the end of the week, write the final draft. Chemistry, do lab experiments on Monday. Thursday, write up the results. I personally have found task orientation to be the superior method, but that's just me. Determine which method works better for you. Both types of orientation are basically to-do lists. The trouble with lists, though, is that people sometimes spend a lot of time writing down what they need to do and little time actually doing it. Just make a general outline of what you want to accomplish in a particular week so that you won't forget any important things.
Tip 3. Put things in order of priority, from most important to least important. Study the harder subjects first when you have more energy and focus. If your grade needs improvement in a certain class, put in more work on that class. If you have a large project, such as a major term paper, break it down into smaller, more manageable segments. Get started and do a bit of work on it each day. That way you can avoid the misery of having an assignment due imminently with not enough time to finish it. While you're doing this, avoid perfectionism. You can refine things later.
Tip 4. Find yourself some study partners. If you join a study group, you will complete assignments more quickly because you will be working with several other people who have the same goal. You can ask for help when you are having a little trouble understanding something. If you understand a topic well, explaining it to your study partners will help you to remember it better. However, make sure that you choose the right study partners. No study partner is preferable to the wrong study partners. You don't want to waste any time studying with people who are not prepared or who aren't serious about their work.
Tip 5. Find yourself the right study environment. A great many people work well in quiet locales with few distractions. Many find they accomplish little real work when they are interrupted by cell phone calls and text messages. But not everyone is like this. Some people actually work well in situations where there's a great deal of noise, music, or other activity going on around them. If you're like this, that's fine. Any locale that allows you to put in quality study time will ultimately help you succeed in your classes.
Tip 6. Always remember why you are doing all this studying. If you don't already have a positive attitude toward learning, adopt one. Be eager to learn. Participate in class as much as possible. Above all, make the most of your present opportunity. It may not come around again.
Unit 12, page 201. Pronunciation note. Quantifiers containing the preposition of are often reduced in rapid speech and in conversation. The word of is often reduced to a. This reduction often happens when the word following of begins with a consonant. When the word following of begins with a vowel, full forms are generally used. A couple of is pronounced as a couple of.
We met a couple of new people at the party.
A lot of is pronounced as a lotta.
I had a lot of work to do tonight.
Lots of is pronounced as lotsa.
There are lots of great movies playing.
Plenty of is pronounced as plentia.
There's plenty of time to get there.
A number of is pronounced as a numbera.
I had a number of problems with the homework.
Amount of is pronounced as amounta.
The amount of traffic today was incredible.
A bit of is pronounced as a bitta.
He had a bit of trouble hearing the lecture.
Most of is pronounced as mosta.
I was able to solve most of the problems.
Unit 12, page 205. Exercise 5. 1.
I've made lots of friends in my classes.
2.
I've got plenty of assignments to finish this weekend.
3.
The amount of traffic on the freeway was discouraging.
4.
I did a number of exercises in my grammar book.
5.
There are a lot of amazing professors at our school.
6.
I was able to answer most of the questions on the exam.
7.
Mary bought a couple of apples for us to eat.
8.
Bill had a bit of trouble finishing his term paper.
9.
Most of the students passed the exam.
10.
Many of the examples are difficult to understand.
Unit 12, page 206. Exercise 7. Listening.
Come in.
Good afternoon, Professor Okawilo.
Good afternoon, Luis. Welcome. What can I do for you?
Well, sir, I'm really concerned about how I'm doing in this class. I'm worried about my grade and wondering if I can improve it.
Well, let me just glance at the grade book for a minute. Let's see. Well, you're missing a few assignments, and you failed the first exam and got a D on the midterm.
How many assignments am I missing?
It looks like 3. Did you just forget to turn them in?
I must have, but I don't really remember. I guess I'm most concerned about the exams, though. Somehow I feel I just don't understand literature. I can understand most of the short stories. It's the poetry I have trouble with. I understand very little of it.
Uh-huh. Let me ask you this. How many classes are you taking this semester?
7.
7? Why so many?
Well, I had to take an overload because I want to graduate within 4 years.
In my opinion, that's too many. I suppose there's nothing you can do about it at this point, but I'd recommend taking fewer classes next term. Do you have any other responsibilities, such as work?
Yes, I'm working 20 hours a week.
I'm beginning to see why you're not doing so well in this class. Actually, I have a suggestion for how you can deal with your problem. I think you need to work regularly with one of the other students. At the beginning of the semester, I asked if there were any students who would like to work with students who were having trouble. 2 of the class members signed up to do this. I can set you up with one of them. Are you willing?
Yes, I am, Professor Okawilo. Thanks a lot. Do you think I can pass the course with a C?
I think it's possible, but you're going to have to put in a great deal of work. There are 2 more exams, plus the final, and you've got to turn in all of your regular assignments. Anyway, I'll let you know tomorrow about which student you'll be working with, okay?
Yes, sir. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Unit 13, page 211. Read.
I hope for it, but I don't expect it. It's the 22nd Winter Olympics in Sochi, Russia. Slovenian skier Tina Maze has emerged as a strong favorite to medal in the super-combined women's downhill in alpine skiing. In her record-breaking season of 2012-2013, Maze had won 11 World Cup medals, and she had previously earned 2 silver medals in the 2010 Vancouver Winter Olympics. Many expect her to win this downhill race, but she doesn't. After finishing in the number 4 position, she says, "Somebody had to finish 4th." 2 days later, however, the situation is different. Few, if any, are expecting Maze to take a gold medal in the women's downhill race, but take one she does. Amazingly, Tina ends up tied with Swiss skier Dominique Hizin. The 2 skiers finish with exactly the same time, the first time this has happened in a Winter Olympics. Maze later says she'd thought she'd blown her chance for a gold medal because in the second part of the race she'd made some small mistakes. But the 30-year-old Maze wins Slovenia's first gold medal ever, even though after her supposed mistakes, she hadn't expected to win at all. It's the weekend, and you and your friend feel like going to a movie. You search the local movie listings, but nothing sounds particularly interesting. Then you remember that a film website has recommended the Academy Award-nominated film, Her. The website raves about its fascinating plot, its excellent color photography, and its awesome commentary on our culture's technological addiction. The movie is about a man who writes love letters for others and ends up falling in love with the operating system on his computer. You find this an amusing idea and are curious to see how the movie storyline will be developed. So you go to the movie, expecting to like it, but as you watch it, you find it full of increasingly preposterous and unconvincing events. Contrary to your expectations, you end up disliking the movie. Your friend, who didn't read any reviews prior to seeing the movie, winds up having much more positive feelings about it than you do. These 2 situations illustrate what we might call the mystery of expectations. On the one hand, events often have surprising outcomes that turn out much more positively than we had expected. On the other hand, events often do not turn out as we feel they will or should. Sometimes children do not meet their parents' career expectations of them. Athletes do not win the contests people expect them to win. Great literature doesn't live up to its reputation. I asked a psychology instructor at a local university whether she thought expectations can actually make things turn out negatively, or whether we're merely talking about an unpleasant, frustrating irony of the human condition. She observed that the mind has immense power to control outcomes. In sporting competitions, for instance, she noted that athletes sometimes concentrate too hard and make mistakes they wouldn't normally make. They miss the basket, don't hit the ball, or lose the race. In effect, they're letting their expectations control them. I then asked the professor if she had ever experienced this phenomenon in her everyday life. She said she had, many times. Let me give you a personal example from skiing that shows the mind's tremendous power. There are days when I feel like a tense, cautious intermediate skier, and I stand at the top of a steep, icy slope, plotting my every move down the course. I fear that I'll fall, thereby ensuring that I do fall. Other days I feel different. My expectations are miles away. I forget about myself, ski well, and don't fall. To be successful, people should concentrate on the process instead of the goal. When they persist in placing an excessive focus on goals, they often fail. Have you heard the phrase, trying too hard? That's what people often do. I asked the professor about her overall recommendation for dealing with the phenomenon of expectations. Her concluding statement was this: it's better to hope for things than to expect them. Good suggestion, I thought.
Unit 13, page 216. Pronunciation note. When the modifiers of a noun are in the same category, we normally pause between them in speaking. In writing, we place a comma between them. When modifiers of nouns are in different categories, we do not normally pause between them in speaking, and we do not separate the modifiers with commas in writing. Modifiers in the same category are pronounced like this.
It was an icy, dark, stormy evening.
He is an arrogant, opinionated, proud man.
Modifiers in different categories are pronounced like this.
I'm going to wear my round blue sapphire earrings.
He is an elderly middle-class man.
Unit 13, page 220. Exercise 5A. 1.
She's going to wear her new red silk dress.
2.
Everyone expected that ugly, strange old building to be torn down.
3.
The trip we took was an expensive, silly, miserable waste of time.
4.
She was upset by her disappointing, terrible test scores.
5.
My intelligent, gracious 25-year-old sister just got engaged.
6.
My parents just bought an attractive old condo.
Unit 13, page 221. Exercise 7. Listening.
Excuse me, Coach Chen? Have you got a few minutes to talk? Sorry, I know I don't have an appointment, but I'm having a tough time right now.
Sure, Josh. Come on in and have a seat. What's bothering you?
Well, it's hard for me to say this, but I think I've become a lousy baseball player. I was a pretty good player in high school, but now that I'm on a college team, nothing is going right.
Yes, you do seem kind of stressed out. But tell me about it. Let me hear about some specific problems you're having that make you think you're not a good player anymore.
The main thing is I just can't hit the ball. In high school, I had a really high batting average. Hitting was the thing I was best at. Now that I'm here, I do okay in batting practice before the game. But when I'm in an actual game, I choke. I feel like I'm not going to be able to hit the ball, and I don't. That's not all either. I miss a lot of easy catches when I'm in the field. I don't know what's wrong with me. Do you think I need to try some new batting techniques or something?
Well, Josh, this is a familiar story. I've had a lot of young baseball players who do a great job in high school. Then they come to college and expect playing to continue to be easy for them. But that's not the way things normally happen. This is the real world.
You mean other guys have this problem?
They sure do. Here's your problem as I see it. Things haven't gone the way you want them to since the season started. That's why you've started thinking you're a terrible player. Now you're afraid you won't be able to hit the ball, and because you think that, you don't hit it. Your fears are controlling you, but you can get beyond this.
I can? How?
Stop thinking about having a good performance. Don't compare yourself to others. Forget about your batting average. Just be in the moment and try to enjoy what you're doing. Forget about yourself.
So I shouldn't quit the team?
Josh, that's the silliest thing I've heard all week. Of course not. You'll hit if you stop worrying about hitting. I'll be seeing you at Friday's game.
Thanks, Coach. I feel a little better. I'll see you on Friday.
Unit 14, page 228. Read.
What type are you? Imagine you're at a party where you know several people well. The hosts have a new party game that involves comparing each person to a flower. Which flower would you choose for each person, and which flower for yourself? Are you the kind of person who resembles a daisy, open to the world most of the time? Or are you more like a morning glory, which opens up only at special moments? Why do we enjoy party games like these that reveal our personality traits and help us to classify people's personalities? Classifying personalities can enable us to understand both ourselves and others better. Moreover, it can assist us in working together effectively and minimizing conflict. For these reasons, over the last century, many personality types have been recognized and tests have been devised that help us to identify these types. Personality identification has become a science. Carl Jung, a Swiss psychiatrist who is regarded as one of the fathers of modern psychiatry, published a famous work on personality in 1921. Isabel Briggs Myers, an American author who studied and admired Jung's theories, felt that Jung's ideas were important and should be made understandable to the general public. Briggs Myers was very disturbed by the global conflict of World War II and had a strong desire to help people to understand each other better. Along with her mother, Catherine Briggs, Briggs Myers created the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, or MBTI. The MBTI, which is constantly being revised and improved, has become the world's most popular test of personality identification. The MBTI is now used for a variety of purposes, such as marital counseling, training of executives, and career decisions. In the 1950s, cardiologists Meyer Friedman and Ray Roseman proposed two new personality categories, Type A and Type B, based on the idea that some people, Type A's, were more likely to suffer from heart disease than others, Type B's. This idea has now been discounted, but the basic outlines of these personality types have become popular, and Type C and D categories have followed them into common use. What type of personality do you have? What about your coworkers, friends, and family? Try to place yourself and people you know into the following categories. Bear in mind, though, that most people don't fit perfectly into a single category.
Type A, self-driven, competitive. Type A's are drivers, competitive individuals who have a no-nonsense approach to life. They're the kind of people who tell you exactly what they think without mincing words. They embrace risk and change and often turn out to be entrepreneurs. Nancy, who started her own greeting card business 3 years ago, is the perfect example. However, Nancy is impatient with detail and routine, which is why she has hired Paul and Mandy to manage her business. Type B, charismatic, easygoing. Type Bs are socializers. They're extroverts, the kind of people who love the spotlight. They love to entertain people. They often gravitate toward jobs in sales or marketing, or as performers on radio and TV. Nancy's husband, Jack, whom most people consider a charismatic person, is a good example. He's the host of a 2-hour talk radio show. Type C, introverted, stress-prone. Type Cs are lovers of detail and data. They tend to be individuals who become accountants, programmers, or engineers. Paul, an accountant, is an example. He's the type of person who loves the details that Nancy hates. Type Cs are sensitive, which can cause them to have trouble communicating with others. Type D loves routine, follows orders. Type D people are those who like routine and tend not to enjoy adventure. Not surprisingly, they usually resist change. They feel secure when they're told what to do. They're often compassionate. Mandy, who loves her office job, is Type D. She wouldn't be happy as the boss, nor would Paul, but they both appreciate working for Nancy.
What did you learn by classifying personalities in this way? Did it give you any insight into yourself and others?
Unit 14, page 236. Pronunciation note. Sentences with identifying adjective clauses and non-identifying adjective clauses are not pronounced in the same way. Identifying clauses have no pauses before and after them.
The woman who is wearing a red skirt and a green blouse is my friend's mother.
The tie which has a stain on it needs to be dry cleaned.
Non-identifying clauses have pauses before and after them. The pauses correspond to commas in written sentences.
The woman who is wearing a red skirt and a green blouse is my friend's mother.
The tie, which has a stain on it, needs to be dry cleaned.
Unit 14, page 239. Exercise 5A. 1.
The man who lives down the street from me is a friend of my father.
2.
The man who lives down the street from me is a friend of my father.
3.
The teacher who handed out the awards is really a well-known scientist.
4.
The teacher who handed out the awards is really a well-known scientist.
5.
The student who lives close to the campus has low gasoline bills.
6.
The student who lives close to the campus has low gasoline bills.
7.
The garden which Mary planted is the most beautiful one of all.
8.
The garden which Mary planted is the most beautiful one of all.
Unit 14, page 241. Exercise 7. Listening.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. I just thought I'd call and tell you about my week.
Hi, Al. How are things going now?
Pretty well. I like the dormitory. The supervisor, who lives right down the hall from me, is really helpful. And he doesn't inspect our rooms.
How about your roommates, Al?
I really like the one who's from Minnesota. He's very social, and he's great to hang around with. I'm not so sure about the other one.
What's the problem with him?
He's kind of competitive and aggressive.
I'm sorry to hear that. One thing I'm curious about, Is this an all-male dorm, or are there girls living there too?
Well, there are two parts to the building. The girls live on one side and the guys on the other. And there are 3 cafeterias. The girls who live on the second floor eat with us at the cafeteria on our floor.
What about your courses? Are they hard?
Well, my English course, which is really tough, is going to require a lot of writing. So is the history class that's in the morning. The history class that I have in the afternoon looks like it's going to be pretty easy. And my math class is going to be a piece of cake.
Good. What about your advisors? My advisors helped me a lot when I was in college.
Yeah, same here. My advisor, who is from Minneapolis, is wonderful. She's told me just what subjects I have to take.
Okay, now I have another question.
Unit 15, page 247. Read.
What is culture shock? Jamal is a young man who has been in New York City for 5 months and is studying at an American university. When he first got to the United States, everything seemed exciting and wonderful. He met a lot of new students that he immediately became friends with. He got acquainted with a number of Americans, most of whom were kind and helpful to him. He fell in love with many aspects of New York, including its towering downtown skyscrapers and its amazing subway system. That was 5 months ago. Now, things have changed considerably. The Americans he has met don't seem as kind or helpful as they did at the beginning. His friends, some of whom he continues to see regularly, are still here, but many of them don't have time to get together anymore. The subway, which he was initially so impressed with, now just seems dirty, noisy, and much too crowded. The skyscrapers which had previously seemed so magnificent now make him feel dwarfed. New York simply just isn't as wonderful as it was at the beginning. What has happened? Jamal is suffering from culture shock, a type of disorientation often resulting from a change to a new locale, a new social setting, or a new country. We can identify 4 stages of culture shock: honeymoon, negotiation, adjustment, and mastery. Honeymoon. Jamal has had the honeymoon stage. But just as newly married couples discover after their honeymoon the initial period of joyful excitement experienced by people in a new culture doesn't last. The delight they felt with the new and perhaps exotic food, the new language, and their new surroundings is replaced by the feelings of frustration that will characterize the next stage. Negotiation. 3 months or more after one has made an entry into a new culture, the honeymoon stage is generally replaced by the negotiation stage. This stage is normally characterized by negative feelings, examples of which include anxiety, loneliness, and homesickness. Jamal is lacking the support of his parents, his extended family, and his friends. Even worse, he has been having trouble communicating with others. Whereas Americans were previously impressed with his mastery of English, suddenly people don't seem to understand him very well. He can't find the kinds of food he wants to eat. He longs for the friends, family, and the customs he has been accustomed to in his native land. Jamal's stage of negotiation is probably the most difficult of the 4 stages for anyone experiencing culture shock to get through. Adjustment. Somewhere between 6 and 12 months, there usually begins a period of adjustment characterized by a gradual acceptance of the new culture. Jamal, tiring of his months of negativity, has come around to the idea that New York City might be worth living in after all. His several months of discontent have gradually given way to a kind of maturity involving acceptance of the culture and adopting a more normal lifestyle. Mastery. Sometime in his second year of living in New York, Jamal reaches the stage of mastery, in which he feels comfortable with the culture and is again content to be here. In this period, often called the bicultural stage, Jamal has attained the ability to participate completely in the New York culture and regard it favorably. This does not mean that he has been converted into an American. It does mean that he is flexible enough to keep many aspects of his native culture while adopting those parts of his new culture that appeal to him. Jamal wasn't able to avoid culture shock, but he was able to master it.
Unit 15, page 258. Exercise 8. Listening.
So, Miriam, you're looking a bit stressed out. You're not having trouble with your classes, are you? I've looked at your midterm grade reports, all of which are strong.
No, things are going fine in my classes. It's my personal life that I'm not happy with. You know, when I first got here from Tanzania, I loved the university in the city. It was exciting. Now everything seems boring. Sometimes I feel like I don't want to be here anymore.
Oh, dear. Have you made some friends since you got here? Let's see, you've been here 3 months now, right?
Well, I just don't seem to have any good friends. I've met several girls in my dormitory who all seem nice, but I can't seem to find anyone to do things with. I haven't really found anyone I have something in common with. And sometimes I feel like people are laughing at me. I feel like there's something wrong with me.
No, Miriam, I don't think anything is wrong with you. I think you're just going through culture shock.
Culture shock? What do you mean?
It's something that many foreign students experience. At first, they're exposed to a lot of new and interesting things, most of which seem fascinating. After 2 or 3 months, though, they're not fascinating anymore. Things begin to seem uninteresting and even annoying.
If that's what I'm experiencing, what can I do to get through it? Should I spend more time with people from my own culture? Should I call home more often? Or find other people from Tanzania on campus?
Well, no, I don't think it would be a good idea for you to isolate yourself with people you're already familiar with. That could make you feel even more homesick and delay your recovery from culture shock. Instead, I think you should try to get to know more Americans.
But as I said, it's hard to make friends here. Sometimes I don't know what to do or say when I'm with Americans.
Don't worry about that. First of all, people won't dislike you just because you're different. And second, there are things you can do to make it easier to find friends. Try to find out more about American culture so that you know what to expect. And remember that it's okay to make mistakes. Try to maintain a sense of humor about them. If you laugh at yourself, other people will laugh with you, not at you.
I guess all that makes sense.
Above all, be patient. Your feelings will pass. It just takes a while.
Unit 16, page 266. Read. Time to sound off.
Good evening, and welcome to Sound Off, the international talk show where you express your uncensored opinions on today's controversial issues. I'm Mike McGaffey. Tonight's topics: should military service be required or voluntary? Should women join the military? And if they do, should they fight in combat? Let's see if we can shed some light on these issues. Here's our first caller, Jerry Burns from Kingston, Jamaica. Where do you stand, Jerry?
Hi, Mike. Basically, I think military service should be voluntary, and I'm definitely against women being in combat.
Okay. Why should it be voluntary? Why shouldn't it be required of everyone?
Because, overall, young people are not all the same. Some people have a military orientation. For them, military service is fine. Others aren't oriented that way. Compulsory military service interferes with their freedom, essentially.
But many argue that we all owe our country something. It protects us and gives us benefits. Shouldn't we give something in return?
We should, if we're motivated to. But it shouldn't be an obligation. And I'd go further. Military forces have done a lot of evil. Maybe we shouldn't even have them.
I don't know, Jerry. I'm a pretty accepting guy, but even I find that suggestion extreme. But let's go to your second point. Why shouldn't women be in combat?
We need to maintain the difference between the sexes. Men and women have inherent differences. If we put women in combat, we're saying that fundamentally they're the same as men. But women just aren't as physically strong and tough as men. Therefore, they aren't suited for combat.
Are you saying that only men are strong enough? That's clearly an old stereotype.
I'm not saying that. I just don't think fighting is feminine.
Wow. All right, Jerry. Very interesting. I expect we'll hear some pretty spirited responses to what you've said. Our next caller is Sarah Lopez from Toronto, Canada. Sarah, does Jerry have a valid point, or is this just fuzzy thinking?
Thanks, Mike. Actually, I couldn't disagree more with Jerry. It's not fuzzy thinking. He was clear in making his point, but I just don't agree with him.
Okay. So military service shouldn't be voluntary.
No. If we're going to have it, it should be required.
Why?
It's the only way to ensure fair treatment for all. People in the military make major sacrifices. Sometimes they risk their lives. That kind of risk should be spread out evenly. Actually, I'd go further. I'd support required national service. It wouldn't have to be only military.
Expand a bit on that.
There are lots of worthwhile things citizens can do for their country, like working in daycare centers, hospitals, or the Peace Corps. National service has been started in a few countries, and hopefully it will be adopted in many more.
All right. Now, Jerry opposes women being in combat. What's your position? Should it be allowed?
Not only should it be allowed, but it should also be promoted. I should know. I've been in the military for 18 months. So have several of my friends.
You have?
Yes. I disagree with the way Jerry characterizes women. No way is combat unfeminine.
Have you ever been in combat?
No, but if I'm ever called to combat, I'll be willing to go. Jerry also said we need to maintain the difference between the sexes. I don't agree with that, and neither do any of my friends.
Okay, Sarah. Oops, there goes the buzzer. Time to hear from another caller. Here's Lou Adijojo from Singapore. Lou, what's your view?